Hi, everybody. Today, welcome to ConnectWise Tuesday. I am Will Young from Baring McKinley. Very excited this week to have Brian and Heather Johnson here from Gazinta for the second part of our webinar series. Last month, they were here and we were talking about their Mobius platform. And then today we're going to be talking about Tixt, which is a little bit different than the QuickBooks Online tool that we were working with last month. Couple housekeeping items. We will be back with you next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. We did a little tweak to the webinar cadence. We will be with you the first and third Tuesdays of every month. All right, and with that, I would like to welcome back Brian and Heather. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for talking again, and the floor is yours.
Okay, I guess, am I starting or are you?
You are starting, Brian.
Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if you had something to say for this slide. Hi. Thanks for joining, everyone.
This.
Yeah, can you tell? I'm a computer geek. I'm not one of these polished salespeople. So Heather and I lead Gazinta. I started in small business IT support all the way back in high school. And I've been specifically in the MSP business since about 2008. Our MSP ran ConnectWise Manage, although back then it was just ConnectWise. We started doing integrations with Manage in 2012 with our Mobius accounting integrations. Ever since Heather and I met, we connected over talking about our business experiences. She was finishing her MBA. I was involved with the MSP, and we really haven't stopped since. We love learning about different businesses, helping small businesses learn how to improve, and we both bring different perspectives to it. So in 2018, we had the opportunities to split the software products off from the MSP and software consulting business. That was Mobius Works. And Heather and I formed Gazinta as a separate company. And we spend our days now building software that helps MSPs work better and connecting with MSPs and trying to help out however we can. And so Tixt is one of our attempts to solve problems with customer communication.
Yeah, and we do have that problem. Texting is certainly a problem, especially with so many people working from home. Often our cell phones end up being our second screen. Going back a little bit into my history, I was working at a graduate school and we had an MSP. This was before I even knew what an MSP was. And we had a technician that came on site frequently. But I liked to be able to text him instead of submit a ticket. I guess I was bad. At the time, I just wanted a direct way to get fast service on tickets. So I asked for his cell phone number and I texted him. He was very wonderful. And when I texted, he would come running, which was lovely and wonderful, until I texted him and it was his wedding day. And I felt so terrible. And then I tried to submit a ticket, but the history of everything that had been done was on his phone. So not the greatest. However, I still wanted to text. And why did I? I was very often on the move. I could respond very quickly by text message. Even in meetings, I could quick say, so a ticket didn't have to be waiting for me to return to my computer. And honestly, it felt like special treatment. And in the senior leadership position I needed things done very quickly. So having that special white glove service was important. So when Brian told me about Tixt, I knew just the problem he was trying to solve, because not having the history on the ticket, I couldn't figure it out. While I was texting him, it should be there.
You knew the problem because you were the problem?
I was a problem. I was a problem, and I didn't even know. I thought I was being helpful. I don't know. I guess not. But but so some of the problems that this leads to, as most of us can imagine, is little to no accountability. The technician that I was working with was wonderful, but that could be something that you're not being able to have your eye on what's happening on that ticket. So that's not the most fun. The technician may be away from work or getting married. God forbid the poor man had his own life and wasn't just waiting around for my text messages. That could have easily, with our product, could have easily been reassigned to another technician, and the customer would still be texting away and not even know that there was a change in who was working on the ticket. It's hard to track prior conversations and history from a text. Just as with my ticket, it was like, well, why don't you know what has been going on? I've been texting him. Well, yeah, that doesn't just appear in Manage unless you are using something like Tixt. And you can't reassign the ticket when it's on their phone, obviously. So we'll go to the next slide. We do have a solution, and that goes into Tixt. It is a new way to communicate with Manage. We set it up and designed it to be very natural to you. It works like the email connector, or not. We may have our issues with it, but it seemed like the best thing to design it and have it work like the email connector. So you have a Tixt pod, just like your email pod, and you can take a ticket created traditionally or a ticket created through Tixt, which we'll talk about in a second, and put the Tixt pod on, and then you have Tixt answering your tickets for you. So let's look at how this works. Obviously, it allows you to do all these wonderful things that weren't happening before. Keep track of texting, reassign tickets. You can read these all, but also lower some of those KPIs. And we're all looking at KPIs right now. The first response time, obviously, texting is 10 times more likely than email to be opened. So your first response time and time to resolution are a lot faster because you're not waiting for those responses and somebody to get to their email. That ticket's getting handled much faster. So with Tixt, you are assigned a phone number, an inbound number, and that inbound number is assigned to your service board in Manage. That number is from your local area code. You can pick from like 10 or 15. I mean, it's a good assortment of numbers that you can choose from. And then you give that number to your customers. I suggest that people do a little game of it, and they actually add in Tixt into their phone and then text one time, and then you pick out of that, you give away a gift card or something like that. It's a great way to get everybody's number all at once and get that Tixt number into their phones so they're using it regularly. Something comes in like this poor woman, Carol, help, my computer's on fire. That's urgent, yeah. So in response, this gets assigned to the ticketing board, and it says what the ticket number is, and that the conversation for this ticket will come from a different number. Okay, so why is that? I'm going to just stop and interject a little. Why does it come from a different number? Well, you're going to have multiple tickets, I would hope. And you don't want to have all of these issues stream through one number. So the way to solve that is to have the conversations come from different numbers. However, Carol customer knows that it's not going to be some you won a free pair of iPods scam, and that when they see this ticket coming in from this number, they're going to know, okay, this is a technician. So now we have Donnie Dispatcher over here in Manage. And I believe there's a screen in Manage what it's looking like for him. So this text message came right in here in the notes. Help, my computer is on fire. Now the
the new ticket was created automatically. So this
Yes.
was a ticket created automatically by Tixt.
Yeah, so it will create it completely by text. You can also take a standard regular ticket created a traditional way and make it go by text. So it's not just the ones that come into by text message, but it does do it automatically for you. If you have a technician in the field that has a cell phone number, you can add them in resources, which is highlighted there. Donnie would like Tina to be in on this conversation, so he's going to add her in, and she's now going to get text messages. What's cool about that is Tina and Carol can communicate back and forth. The whole conversation stays in the notes and manage, but to Carol and Tina, it looks like a normal text messaging conversation. So this situation with Carol's not going well, clearly. She maybe wants to show the urgency with a picture or a video. She could have sent a video of this burning computer. But yeah, there's urgency, and Donnie dispatcher is going to see that image as an attachment on the ticket. So it will also show up in notes that will say you have an attachment, which will let you know that you should look over at the attachments on the ticket for that image. Really great to make sure something's plugged in. Taking a little snapshot of that plug in the outlet's nice. So, there's a lot of things that that's useful for. So here's Tina. Tina is on her phone. She is pushing out a patch that will obviously clear up this fire. And Carol customer sees in response, as you can see, looks just to them like text messaging back and forth, but this whole entire conversation is still in Manage. And that patch did it. So she is thrilled. The fire is out with that lovely patch. And so he's going to mark the ticket as closed. And Carol customer is going to see this. Yep, it does look the same if a tech responds. That one right before shows it will have the Tina text, Tina T. That's what it looks like when Tina T responds. It's going to have their name, but I think that's helpful when there's a few people on the conversation.
So the phone on the left is the text phone, the phone on the right is the customer's phone, and yeah, you're seeing the name of everybody who's involved, so you have some context. But yeah, that is the view.
And they get the confirmation message. If they feel like the issue isn't resolved, they can text back and it will reopen that ticket. So what do you get with text? It's one inbound phone number, unlimited tickets, unlimited SMS messages, unlimited contacts, no contract, and broadcast SMS, which I didn't even get into yet. I think actually I have it on another slide, but I'm going to talk about it here. Microsoft sometimes goes down. And when that happens, everybody gets very upset because they can't communicate. This is not something new to you. It was something kind of new to me. I didn't know about this. But one time I just threw out a post on social media saying, Microsoft is down. If you need to get in touch with people quickly by SMS, I can get Tixt installed in your system and set up in 10 minutes. It's a web app. It's not installed in your system. Sorry. I don't know where those words came from. But I had 3 or 4 people on Facebook and Reddit just reach out to me and say, I'd like to do it. How do I do it? I had them completely set up with Tixt, and they set that SMS message to their customers within 10 minutes. And what is great about it is it filters all your contacts from ConnectWise. So you can do it by location or company. If they have an active cell phone number, they'll be in that list and you can get the news out to them really quick. So I've heard that alone is the price of admission. So it's a good feature. And our setup is really easy. the step that might take you the longest is choosing your number if you're very indecisive. But really, it should take you 10 minutes, 15, if you really want to ponder that phone number. We have people up and going really fast. When we were at IT Nation, we had some people stop us and say, that product's stupid simple. It just does what it needs to do. And it's easy to set up, easy to train. And we didn't even have to pay them. They, that wasn't, those weren't the times no, we never do that. But no, people just really love it. And it's great. Yeah. And a big thank you to Baring McKinley. They are wonderful supporters of ours, and we really, really love them. So just want to make sure we say that, because we're big fans for sure. Does anybody have any questions about text?
We got a couple coming in. Rob is asking, are the phone numbers local?
Yes, they are. So when you're in setup, it does ask for your area code, and then it gets you a host of numbers that are in your local area code. We also do, it's a little bit complicated, so we could talk about it after if anyone was interested in porting a number over. We're only able to do that with landlines to still support voice calls. But if there's a certain number you want, we're able to do that. No contract, Robert, no month by month contract, and a 30-day free trial. So really there is, you could all try it out for 30 days this afternoon and be sending messages to people in 20 minutes.
So we're being asked, where do you view numbers to choose from, and are you going to show the connector setup side and manage, or do we assist with the initial install? So the numbers, we worked really hard on our onboarding process. You sign up on our website, you get a free 30-day trial. So you have plenty of time to play with it, but you should easily be able to walk through the installation steps. The most difficult step, as with any of these integrations, is the connection to manage, but we've made it as simple as it's possible to make. If you need help getting it set up, if you do run into trouble, most people don't. If you do run into trouble, our support would be happy to help you.
And Louis' question about outbound SMS, no limits. Maybe we need to do that at some point, but we're not going to be at this point.
And we're with the way we've been doing this is anybody who buys this plan at this pricing keeps this plan at this pricing.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be in our interest later if we want to change our pricing model and charge you per text or something like that, to have features that incline you to upgrade to the new plan that gets you out of the unlimited pricing. Otherwise, you're going to be locked in as long as your account is in good standing. Yep. And then we have two other questions that are related. One about using your current business number, and the other about if someone calls this number. So we can port in an existing number, but we aren't set up to do voice and texting on the same number. So if you have a number that you own already that you want to use, it is possible to port that into us. But when somebody calls that number, they're going to get a message that it doesn't receive, that phone number doesn't receive phone calls.
Unless it's a landline.
Yeah, we do have the opportunity. If there's anybody out there who's still using a plain copper landline, we do have the opportunity to add texting support to your existing landline. You could get calls on that landline and we'll get the texts. Unfortunately, our phone carrier won't let us do that on VoIP lines.
And I did put an article about that in the chat. So if you'd like to read a little bit more about it.
Can you block numbers? we don't have any functionality yet for blocking numbers. Certainly, if that becomes a problem, an abuse problem, we would definitely add that. That would be in our interest as well, since that would increase the number of text messages we would be getting in and sending out, and our costs. It hasn't been an abuse issue that has been reported by any of our customers.
I do believe that we can do it on our end through Twilio.
Oh yeah, we can do it manually on the back end.
Yeah. Let's see.
These are great questions. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, these are wonderful. And Brian, Robert's question: Have you spoken to the ASCII group? I have not.
No.
No, we
No, I haven't
haven't.
done a presentation for ASCII.
But would love to. Anything else anybody has? Everyone's getting ready to start their 30-day free trial. And also, you don't have to put a credit card in for that as well. Yes, yeah, we're very familiar with it. But yeah, I think we reached out to them, and I think actually that might be in process. But I'm going to relook at that today. So thank you. Yes, Dusty, that's a good idea. Sorry, Dusty asked, and I should probably, yeah. Can you read the questions first? And because he's not seeing them. Gotcha. So the questions that we answered already are the phone numbers local, and yes,
I think he was talking particularly about the question you were just answering, because there wasn't any context. And so that was all about the ASCII group.
ASCII group, yes, yes. Okay, got it.
If you scroll up a little bit, there's a question from Paul. Are there instances where the integration breaks? And if so, are the errors sent anywhere? We've had this happen with the email connector before.
Are there instances where the okay, so I mean, yeah, if we cannot reach your manage instance, we continue to try to reach your manage instance for a period of time. But if everything fails, and maybe manage is down, maybe you've changed your credentials and it no longer works. I mean, we've done a lot of work to try to make our integration as fault tolerant as possible, including for if parts of our system are down, we've built a lot of resiliency in there for those types of things. So the last thing we want to do is for anybody to miss messages. If we absolutely can't reach manage and we have an inbound message, we will fall back on an email address.
Jason's asking, we have a tech line number. I assume there's no way to make that work if they text that it goes to manage.
Tech line number. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, if it's we can, any phone number, we can have the messages go into manage, but the only thing is if it's not a landline, we can't do texting and voice on the same number. There's also a question, if a client has multiple tickets open and they reply to the incorrect ticket, is it easy to move it to the correct one? That's a multiple tickets open and you reply. This is just like the email connector. So if you reply, if a client replies to the incorrect ticket, and to be honest, I'm not sure what the best practice is for dealing with that in Manage. Will might know better than I do. If you get a reply, like an email in from a customer on the wrong ticket, how to move it to the correct ticket.
Yeah, in that scenario, I'm just copying and pasting those notes into the correct ticket number. I'm sure there's a better way though.
We have a call-in number that is active. It's a Microsoft Cloud number. That's the tech line number.
Yeah.
So yeah, so in that case, Jason, I would say you would want to set up a separate line for texting because we would not be able to maintain your voice service as well.
And Jessica is asking if there'll be a recording that is going to be sent. And Will, I believe, yeah, you guys.
Yes,
send
this will
that
go out. We'll email this out. It'll also be on both our Facebook and our YouTube page.
Great. Awesome.
All right, last call for questions.
Okay, so Dusty's asking if you have multiple tickets occurring, they all get threaded back to the correct tickets. This is why I know, well, I'm not going to try to pull the slide back up. On that initial slide, when the customer texted in and it created the ticket, it also sent them a reply back from a different phone number. So each ticket that customer opens gets a new phone number. So if they reply to, so they have different message threads on their phone for each ticket. So that customer can have multiple tickets open and they reply to the phone number for the particular ticket and that response goes on that ticket. We would have done like the email connector does and separate them by subject line, but there are no subject lines in text messages. If they reply to a closed ticket, by default, it will reopen, although that is configurable.
Yeah, there is a setting for that. And also to point out, also you can change, we have messaging there, but every single message that we send out can be customized. So that's a really great feature.
Heather's referring to the automated messages. So the automated messages that we send out, you can modify the text if you don't like the text that we've chosen.
We won't be offended. The other kind of neat use case is if somebody is texting in and says, my printer's on fire, and then right away writes help, and then says, I need help again, that will all be on one ticket. Those won't be separate tickets. Anything that comes in within a minute will be put on the same ticket.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So each ST gets a new text. I'm assuming that means service ticket. So yeah, if each service ticket gets a different phone number. So that way the text messages on that service ticket are associated with that phone number. The phone number that you choose when you start service with us is the phone number that customers use to create tickets. And it's also the phone number that we will send out the broadcast SMS from. So if you say, hey, everybody, we're aware your email's not working today, Office 365's down, then if they respond to that broadcast SMS, it creates a ticket so that you can have that conversation with that individual versus another individual.
Anybody
All
else?
right.
Yeah, looks like we're good.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, Brian, Heather, thank you very much for joining us for a second time. If anybody has any questions about either the text or the Mobius product, you can find any information on gazinta.com. If you need help on best practices, you can contact Heather and Brian from the Gazinta webpage or reach out to anybody here at Barry & McKinley, as we actively use both of those products.
Thanks, Will.
Great. Thank
Appreciate
you
you
so
having us
much,
on.
Will.
Absolutely. And then we will be back for Ask the Expert next Tuesday, 12 Central. And with
Great.
that, we'll just give everybody 30 minutes back to your day. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for
Bye.
joining.